Yes, I can hear it. That clock is ticking, and that means that once again it is time for your favorite show and mine, the Countdown to Armageddon. And today is going to be my Chavanah conviction overwhelming. Let's just go through it. I got a bunch of articles on the George Floyd murder case, and let's take a look at it. Before I begin, let me point out one very, very, very important thing. I do think Chauvin is his name, was guilty. I do believe he contributed to the death of George Floyd. Do I think it was first-degree murder? No. Second degree? Depends on how it's defined. Do I believe, like so many people believe, that this was an act of racism? No. I don't. And I have seen no proof so far that shows me that this idiot, this bully of a cop, was racist. But let's go on. First off, you have Biden coming out saying he's praying that the conviction, that he's praying the jury will make the right choice, that the evidence is overwhelming. This was done before the jury reached their verdict, so we have one person from the Democrat side already trying to push a certain angle. And that was actually reported in the Hill. Now, as I already covered, Maxine Waters coming out, opening her big mouth. What you have is the judge then criticized Waters for opening her mouth, saying that this is a good way to prejudice a jury. Maxine Waters responds by stating, well, hold on, I'll get to that in a minute. First off, Pelosi says Waters shouldn't have to apologize for trying to incite violence. Why not? But, okay, she's believing the spin, putting out the spin that Don Lemon and all the others are putting out. Where is it? I got it. We have an article on that where, here it is, Lemon is trying to spin this and saying, oh no, it's not confrontation. Confrontational doesn't mean to be violent. She's just trying to get them to be out there in the streets. Spin, because they can't admit that one of their leaders just called for violence. And that's exactly what she did. And I'd like to see her get sued for this crap. Now, we know that she isn't going to be punished by the House, because McCarthy announced a resolution to censure Waters over her comments. What happened? The House rejected it. Waters threatened the jury. Alan Dershowitz says basically this is the same crap that the KKK used to do. But that's okay, because Waters says my words don't matter. She brushed off the criticism from the judge, even though it could be used to overturn. And why? Because she is not accountable for her words. Going on, we see that another version of the very same article. Dershowitz claims that her tactics are similar to those used by the KKK. Nobody cares, though, because there is no way to get her to shut up. There's no way to get her to get out until the people in California realize this woman is dangerous. Now, what we do see is another Democrat coming out. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says Chavanah killed Floyd regardless of the outcome of the trial. So justice doesn't matter. Trials don't matter. All that matters is we get the verdict we want. And as this thing was going on, Portland rioters smashed out the windows at a Starbucks and attacked the police. Why? Because they want to make sure that Derek Chavanah's trial is fair. Now, ex-cop Derek Chavanah used reasonable force during his deadly arrest of George Floyd. I think that's bullshit. It's nonsense to disregard other possible circumstances in Floyd's death. That is true. There were other factors that contributed to his death, but so did Floyd. This is what this defense case is trying to come up with. The point is, from this, is no, you can't put first degree on him. He didn't intentionally kill him. He was just depraved indifference. I'm sorry, but Chauvin, you see the video. protesters, people around there, bystanders would say, hey, the guy's not breathing. And instead of actually giving a damn about the suspect he's got on the floor in handcuffs with his knee on his neck, he grabs his pepper spray. So yeah, I do think this guy needed to be punished. And Minnesota is finally getting their head out of their ass and going after these protesters. About time, I say, since they already cost $2 billion overall. And here we have the verdict. He was found guilty on all charges in the death of George Floyd. Now, I'm not going to go through and say whether they were right or wrong in finding him guilty on all counts. I have said, and I still maintain, this Derek Chauvin is guilty. He contributed to the murder, to the death of George Floyd. Do I think he's the only one responsible? No. What I like to point out is what several other people are starting to notice and are starting to point out is those 3 cops that stood around and just watched, they're just as guilty, if not more. But nobody's going to go after them. Now the question is being raised, was the jury's fear of violence a factor in his being convicted on all accounts? Of course it was. Do you think this jury is blind? We know what was going to happen. It's already happening anyway. They get their verdict and they're still out there protesting. The Chauvin trial and the ongoing quest for justice. It's a long article, and because it's from the Epoch Times, it's probably very slanted to the right. The problem I see, folks, is this justice? I don't know. Is it justice claiming it was racism? No, that's not justice. That's, to me, a blatant lie. The point is, this trial has been turned into a referendum on policing. Something I do think that we need to have an honest discussion about in this country is the way our police operate. Does this actually give us an honest referendum? No. Why? Because it was hijacked. A wrongful death and an outright attempted murder, in my opinion, was hijacked into a racial issue. Now, later on, I'm going to take a look at some of these claims the left is making about how racist the cops are. We'll go into that, and the numbers might actually shock you. This problem with all of this is there is no justice if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Finally, continuing on, even before the verdict was out, the protesters in Minnesota were out and about, attacking truck drivers because that's what they want. Facebook was preparing to censor anything that criticized BLM or supported Chauvin. Once again, getting ready to have their rah-rah squad all ready to support them. I mean, let's face it, Zuckerberg and Facebook and all the rest of these big media corporations, they are just nothing more than propagandists for the left side, and it's disgusting. Now we go to the Hill, and I thought this was interesting because the memo, the Chauvin verdict, delivers a rare moment of justice, some of which I fully agree on. It is clear to any fair-minded, no, it's not clear to any fair-minded person that Floyd got murdered by the cop. Did he contribute to it? Oh, without a doubt. But for once, a jury agreed. Their verdict, which is a landslide decision, imprisoned this jerk for up to 40 years. Probably actually is a death sentence, because let's face it, where are you going to put him? This guy's going to go to jail, and he's not going to have a good time. The thing is, more often than not, police are not convicted. They're not even charged most of the time. police are rarely charged. Now, the idea is that maybe this is a beginning of a new era, but I doubt it. I think there were too many things that got together to get this verdict out there. So, let's take a look. In 2014, Eric Garner died in a situation similar. The grand jury refused to indict. You know, they're going to go through a list of all these people that were killed by cops. Granted, they're only showing blacks. They need to take a look at the white count too and see that cops don't shoot based on color. Cops shoot based on one color, blue versus non-blue. We need our cops to be more accountable, and we need to get the idea of race out of it so that it's actually fair. Biden,
you're like me and you're on your feet all day, or you just like
me, folks, sorry about that. Now, Biden says that the Kavanaugh verdict is a step forward in the fight against racial injustice, but I guess non-racial injustice is okay. This one I thought was just adding icing to the cake. How pathetic that Nancy Pelosi thanked George Floyd for sacrificing his life for justice so that Chauvin would be found guilty. How disgusting. Now Chauvin his defense team is going to probably go and file for a mistrial. Why? Because Waters and the rest of them opened their big mouths. If they could have just kept their mouths out and not threatened people, maybe we would have had real justice. Continuing on. And when this is all done, it's not done. It's never done. Because the DOJ is going to probe and investigate the Minnesota police because, you know, they're all a bunch of racists. Remember, folks, the George Floyd riots last summer cost them almost $2 billion. And the end result is, we don't know if justice has actually been served. I don't. Nobody but those 12 members of the jury will know for sure what motivated them to convict. A lot of people in watching the trial will not agree with their verdict. Other people who didn't even watch the trial will of course agree with their verdict. I don't know. The thing is, I wasn't privy to all the facts that came out. The point is, I do know that the one fact that you cannot argue, the man knelt on this guy's neck even after people around said this has got to stop. Alright, this has been my view of the Kavanaugh George Floyd case. Kind of mixed bag, but it's a mixed situation. So, take it for what you will. Leave your comments down below. If you think he's not guilty, please give me a reason why you think what he did was right. If you think he's guilty, what punishment do you think is fair? I don't know on that one either, because any jail sentence is a death sentence. Maybe that's fair in your book. Maybe you think he was racist. If you have proof that he was racist, please let me know. Other than that, you guys have a great week. Remember, click that like button, click the subscribe button, get your friends out there to do the same, share it, and I'll see you next time.